Knights of Rizal, Petitioner. Versus DMCI Homes Incorporated, DMCI Project Developers Incorporated. City of Manila, National Commission for Culture and the Arts, National Historical Commission of the Philippines. Respondents. GR number 213948 April 18, 2017, 809 Phil. 453. Facts. DMCI Project Developers Incorporated acquired a 7,716.60 square meter lot in the city of Manila, located near Taft Avenue, Ermita, beside the former Manila GILI building and Adamson University. The lot was earmarked for the construction of DMCI-PDI's Torre de Manila condominium project. DMCI-PDI secured its barangay clearance to start the construction of its project. It then obtained a zoning permit and building permit. The City Council of Manila issued Resolution Number 121 enjoining the office of the building official to temporarily suspend the building permit of DMCI-PDI, citing, among others, that the Torre de Manila condominium, based on their development plans, upon completion, will rise up high above the back of the national monument to clearly dwarf the statue of our hero, and with such towering heights, would certainly ruin the line of sight of the Rizal Shrine from the frontal Roxas Boulevard vantage point. Subsequently, both the City of Manila and DMCI-PDI sought the opinion or the National Historical Commission of the Philippines on the matter. The National Historical Commission of the Philippines maintained that the Torre de Manila project site is outside the boundaries of the Rizal Park and well to the rear of the Rizal Monument, and thus cannot possibly obstruct the frontal view of the national monument. Following an online petition against the Torre de Manila project that garnered about 7,800 signatures, the City Council of Manila issued Resolution Number 146, reiterating its directive enjoining the City of Manila's building officials to temporarily suspend the building permit. The City Council of Manila a resolution ratifying and confirming all previously issued permits, licenses, and approvals issued by the city. The Knights of Rizal, a civic, patriotic, cultural, nonpartisan, nonsectarian, and non-profit organization created under Republic Act No. 646, filed a petition for injunction seeking a temporary restraining order and later a permanent injunction against the construction of DMCI's Torre de Manila condominium project. The Knights of Rizal argues that the subject matter of the present suit is one of transcendental importance, paramount public interest, of overarching significance to society, or with far-reaching implication, involving the desecration of the Rizal Monument. Further, the Knights of Rizal argues that the Rizal Monument, as a national treasure, is entitled to full protection of the law, and the national government must abate the act or activity that endangers the nation's cultural heritage, even against the wishes of the local government hosting it. Next, the Knights of Rizal contends that the project is a nuisance per se because the despoliation of the site view of the Rizal Monument is a situation that annoys or offends the senses of every Filipino who honors the memory of the national hero José Rizal. It is a present, continuing, worsening, and aggravating status or condition. Hence, the project is a nuisance per se. It deserves to be abated summarily, even without need of judicial proceeding. The Knights of Rizal also claims that the Torre de Manila project violates the National Historical Commission of the Philippines' guidelines on monuments honoring national heroes, illustrious Filipinos, and other personages, which state that historic monuments should assert a visual dominance over its surroundings, as well as the country's commitment under the International Charter for the Conservation and Restoration of Monuments and Sites, otherwise known as the Venice Charter. DMCI-PDI argues that the Knights of Rizal's petition should be dismissed on the following grounds: that this honorable court has no jurisdiction over this action, that Knights of Rizal has no legal right or interest to file or prosecute this action, that Torre de Manila is not a nuisance per se, that DMCI acted in good faith in constructing Torre de Manila, and that Knights of Rizal is not entitled to a temporary restraining order and/or a writ of preliminary injunction. The City of Manila also asserts that the issuance and revocation of a building permit undoubtedly fall under the category of a discretionary act or duty performed by the proper officer in light of his meticulous appraisal and evaluation of the pertinent supporting documents of the application in accordance with the rules laid out under the National Building Code and Presidential Decree No. 1096, while the mandamus is available only to compel the performance of a ministerial duty. Issue: whether or not the court can issue a writ of mandamus against the officials of the City of Manila to stop the construction of DMCI PDI's Torre de Manila project.
Ruling: no.
There is no law prohibiting the construction of the Torre de Manila. The court has allowed or upheld actions that were not expressly prohibited by statutes when it determined that these acts were not contrary to morals, customs, and public order, or that upholding the same would lead to a more equitable solution to the controversy. However, it is the law itself, Articles 1306 and 1409(1) of the Civil Code, which prescribes that acts not contrary to morals, good customs, public order, or public policy are allowed if also not contrary to law. In this case, there is no allegation or proof that the Torre de Manila project is contrary to morals, customs, and public order, or that it brings harm, danger, or hazard to the community. There is no law prohibiting the construction of the Torre de Manila due to its effect on the background view, vista, sight line, or setting of the Rizal Monument. Mandamus does not lie against the City of Manila. The rules on civil procedure are clear that mandamus only issues when there is a clear legal duty imposed upon the office or the officer sought to be compelled to perform an act, and when the party seeking mandamus has a clear legal right to the performance of such act. In the present case, nowhere is it found in Ordinance No. 8119 or in any law, ordinance, or rule for that matter, that the construction of a building outside the Rizal Park is prohibited if the building is within the background sightline or view of the Rizal Monument. Thus, there is no legal duty on the part of the City of Manila to consider, in the words of the dissenting opinion, the standards set under Ordinance No. 8119 in relation to the applications of DMCI-PDI for the Torre de Manila, since under the ordinance these standards can never be applied outside the boundaries of Rizal Park. The Knights of Rizal also invokes this court's exercise of its extraordinary certiorari power of review under Section 1, Article 8 of the Constitution. However, this court can only exercise its extraordinary certiorari power if the City of Manila, in issuing the required permits and licenses, gravely abused its discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction. Tellingly, neither the majority nor minority opinion in this case has found that the City of Manila committed grave abuse of discretion in issuing the permits and licenses to DMCI-PDI. In cases where the question of constitutionality of a governmental action is raised, the judicial power that the courts exercise is likewise identified as the power of judicial review, the power to review the constitutionality of the actions of other branches of government. The judicial review that the courts undertake requires: 1. There be an actual case or controversy calling for the exercise of judicial power. 2. The person challenging the act must have standing to challenge. He must have a personal and substantial interest in the case such that he has sustained, or will sustain, direct injury as a result of its enforcement. 3. The question of constitutionality must be raised at the earliest possible opportunity. And 4. The issue of constitutionality must be the very least motor of the case. There is, however, no clear legal duty on the City of Manila to consider the provisions of Ordinance No. 8119 for applications for permits to build outside the protected areas of the Rizal Park. It is the policy of the courts not to interfere with the discretionary executive acts of the executive branch unless there is a clear showing of grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction. Mandamus does not lie against the legislative and executive branches or their members acting in the exercise of their official discretionary functions. This emanates from the respect accorded by the judiciary to said branches as co-equal entities under the principle of separation of powers. It can easily be gleaned that the Torre de Manila is not a nuisance per se. The Torre de Manila project cannot be considered as a direct menace to public health or safety.